There's a belief that men only notice the obvious appearance, style, or surface-level details. But that's not the whole story. Because in reality, men are constantly observing, sometimes without even realizing it themselves. They pick up on the small details, the subtle shifts, the moments in between words. It's not just about looks, it's about something deeper. So today we're going to break down 7 things women have no idea men notice about them. Some of these might surprise you. Let's dive in. It happens in a fraction of a second, so fast that even you might not realize it. A flicker in your eyes, the way your lips tighten for just a moment, the slight raise of an eyebrow before returning to neutral. These tiny subconscious movements reveal more than words ever could. And the most fascinating part? Men notice them, even if they can't always explain how or why. Human beings are wired for emotional recognition. Long before spoken language developed, our ancestors relied on facial cues to understand intent, danger, and trustworthiness. It's an instinct buried deep within us, and men, whether consciously or not, are constantly scanning for these silent signals. A quick widening of the eyes, it signals excitement or surprise. A subtle downturn of the mouth, disappointment. Even if it's never spoken. These micro-expressions reveal your emotions before you have a chance to filter them. Think about a moment when someone made a comment that caught you off guard. Maybe it was a compliment you didn't expect, or perhaps it was something that slightly annoyed you. Before you could even form a verbal response, your face reacted. Your lips may have twitched. Your eyes may have darted to the side for just a split second. You may not have thought twice about it, but the person in front of you likely registered that reaction on some level. Men, especially those who are naturally observant, take note of these details. Not in a calculated, intentional way, but instinctively. A date can tell when you're genuinely interested in a conversation versus when you're just being polite. A partner can sense when something is bothering you, even if you insist that you're fine. A stranger might pick up on your discomfort in a social setting, even if you're trying your best to appear composed. What's even more interesting is that these micro-expressions can create a powerful sense of connection. When someone notices them and responds appropriately, offering reassurance, making a joke to ease tension, or simply adjusting their approach, it fosters a deeper level of understanding. It's part of why we feel drawn to certain people and distant from others. And the reality is, no matter how much we try to mask our emotions with words or body language, these subtle facial shifts often tell the real story. Attraction is often mistaken for something purely visual, features, symmetry, style. But the truth is, those are just surface-level impressions. What truly leaves a mark, what lingers long after the first glance, is something far deeper: confidence. It's not just about how someone looks, it's about how they carry themselves, how they move through the world, how they exist in a space without needing validation. Confidence isn't about perfection. It's not about having the most flawless skin, the trendiest outfit, or the most meticulously styled hair. Those things may catch the eye for a moment, but they don't hold attention for long. What does? The way someone walks into a room, not with arrogance, but with assurance. The kind of presence that makes people take notice without a word being spoken. There's a certain energy that confident people exude, and it's undeniable. It's in the way they stand, shoulders back, posture strong, movements intentional. It's in the way they speak, clear, measured, unafraid of taking up space in a conversation. It's in the way they handle social situations, not shrinking in uncertainty or constantly seeking approval, but rather engaging effortlessly, as if they belong exactly where they are. Men notice this, not in the obvious, oh, she looks good kind of way, but in a deeper, more instinctive way. A woman who carries herself with confidence doesn't need to over-explain, doesn't need to seek permission to be noticed. She just is. It's not about dominance, it's about ease. The way she glides through a crowd rather than hesitates. The way she holds eye contact without shifting uncomfortably. The way she speaks with a sense of certainty, as if her words matter just as much as anyone else's. Confidence is also about comfort within oneself. It's in the way someone dresses, not necessarily in high fashion, but in a way that feels like an extension of who they are. It's in the way they laugh, unapologetically, freely, without hesitation. It's in how they handle silence in a conversation, not rushing to fill it out of nervousness, but embracing it, allowing it to settle naturally. And the fascinating thing is, confidence is contagious. It creates a ripple effect. When someone walks through life with certainty, with an internal sense of self-worth, people around them feel it. It makes them more attractive, not just in a romantic sense, but in a way that draws others in, makes them want to be near them, listen to them, understand them. But confidence isn't about being the loudest person in the room. It isn't about being the most extroverted, the most talkative, or the one constantly in the spotlight. Some of the most confident people are quiet, composed, understated. Confidence isn't about showing off. It's about owning who you are without needing outside validation. There's a distinct difference between hearing someone and truly listening to them. It's subtle, yet unmistakable. Men notice it, not just in the words exchanged, but in the pauses, the reactions, the unspoken gestures that say, I'm here, I'm engaged, I'm paying attention. We live in a world where distractions are everywhere. Conversations are often interrupted by buzzing phones, wandering eyes, or people waiting for their turn to speak rather than absorbing what's being said. But then there's a different kind of presence, a rare kind, that makes a person feel truly heard. And when a woman listens in that way, it's unforgettable. It's in the way she maintains eye contact, not in an intense, forced manner, but with genuine curiosity. It's in the slight tilt of her head when someone shares a thought, the way her facial expressions shift in real time, mirroring emotions without even realizing it. It's in how she leans in ever so slightly, as if closing the distance between her and the person speaking. It's in the way she absorbs not just the words, but the feelings behind them. Men notice the difference between passive listening and active engagement. A nod at the right moment, a subtle smile when something resonates, an eyebrow raised in curiosity. These are cues that reveal a person isn't just hearing words, but actually internalizing them. And in a world filled with distractions, this level of attention is powerful. Then there's the way she responds, not just with generic reactions, but with thoughtful ones. She doesn't just say, that's interesting, and move on. She builds on the conversation, asks follow-up questions, makes the other person feel like what they're saying truly matters. She doesn't rush to fill silences, doesn't turn the discussion back to herself too soon. She allows space for the other person's thoughts to fully unfold. Lisa, it's also in the way she reacts to vulnerability. When someone shares something personal, something raw, she doesn't brush past it or make it about her own experience. She holds space for it. Maybe it's a softening in her eyes, a shift in her expression, a moment of stillness that says, I hear you, I understand. That kind of listening creates a level of trust that works. And there's something even deeper at play, emotional intelligence. A woman who listens well doesn't just focus on what's being said, she picks up on what's not being said. She notices the hesitation before certain words, the change in tone when a topic shifts, the way someone glances away when they say, I'm fine, but clearly means something else. She doesn't interrupt or rush for solutions. She simply acknowledges, validates, and lets the conversation breathe. It's this kind of listening that makes people feel safe, understood, and drawn in. There's something incredibly revealing about the way a person treats those who have nothing to offer them in return. It's easy to be warm and engaging with friends, charming in social settings, and polite when the situation calls for it. But the true measure of character isn't found in grand gestures or public moments. It's in the small, unfiltered interactions that happen when no one is watching. Men notice this more than women might realize. It's not just about kindness in the obvious places, it's about how consistently that kindness shows up. The way she speaks to the barista when ordering coffee, how she acknowledges the janitor walking past, the way she interacts with the waiter who brings her food. Does she make eye contact? Does she say thank you with genuine appreciation? Or does she barely look up from her phone? There's a world of difference between politeness and true respect. Some people are polite out of habit because it's socially expected. But then there are those who extend kindness because it's simply who they are, because they see people, not just roles. That distinction is something men pick up on more than most women think. It's also in how she treats strangers. Does she hold the door for someone behind her, even if she's in a rush? Does she offer a smile to the older woman struggling with her grocery bags? Or does she walk past without a second thought? These small moments might seem insignificant, but they speak volumes. They indicate whether someone moves through the world with a sense of entitlement or with an awareness that everyone deserves dignity, no matter their status or position. Then there's how she treats people in difficult situations, especially in moments of frustration. Anyone can be kind when things are going well, but what happens when the restaurant messes up her order, when the cashier takes too long, when an Uber driver makes a mistake? Does she react with patience and understanding, or does her tone shift into irritation? Does she snap, sigh, roll her eyes, or does she handle it with grace? Men notice these reactions because they reveal something deeper, how she would treat them in moments of imperfection. If she is quick to demean a stranger over something minor, how would she respond when a partner makes a mistake? If she lacks patience with a server, how much patience will she have in a relationship when things don't go her way? And it's not just about service workers either. It's about how she interacts with people in every corner of her life. How does she speak about her friends when they're not around? Is she supportive and uplifting, or does she gossip and criticize? How does she handle conflicts? With maturity or by making passive-aggressive comments? Does she celebrate other people's wins, or does she subtly undermine them? Men may not always comment on these things, but they absolutely take mental notes. Because at the core of it, how someone treats others, especially those who can't do anything for them, reveals their true nature more than anything else. Long before a word is spoken, before a conversation even begins, something else has already been communicated. It's subtle, yet undeniable. A presence, an energy, a feeling that lingers in the space between people. It's not about looks. It's not about words. It's about something far deeper, something unspoken. Men notice this, even if they can't always explain it. They feel it when a woman walks into a room, when she carries herself with a certain ease, when her presence shifts the energy around her without trying. It's in the way she holds herself, not just in posture, but in presence. Some people shrink into the background, others command attention forcefully, but then there are those who don't have to demand space at all. They just own it. And that's something that cannot be faked. It's in the way she moves, how effortlessly she seems to flow through a crowd, how she exists in a space without tension. Some people carry a weight with them, anxiety, insecurity, uncertainty, all of which can be felt before they even speak. Others carry a different kind of energy, one that is calm, self-assured, and magnetic. Men pick up on that, whether they realize it or not. And then there's the way she makes people feel. Some people drain the energy from a room, while others elevate it. A woman with a warm, positive energy can change the entire tone of an interaction. She doesn't have to be the loudest person or the center of attention. Sometimes it's in the quiet confidence she carries, the way she makes people feel seen and valued without even trying. It's also in how she reacts to the energy around her. Does she stay composed in tense situations? Does she radiate calm when others are flustered? Does she handle stress with grace rather than panic? Men notice this because energy, especially unspoken energy, is contagious. Being around someone who carries themselves with ease makes others feel at ease, while being around someone who is constantly anxious or on edge creates tension. And then there's the deeper, more intuitive side of energy, the way she responds without words. When a man is speaking, does she seem present? Does she react in a way that makes him feel understood, even without saying much? Sometimes, a simple glance, a knowing smile, or a shift in expression says more than words ever could. It's the kind of unspoken language that builds connection without effort. Even beyond one-on-one interactions, energy is something that lingers. It's the feeling left behind after someone walks away. Do people feel lighter after spending time with her? or do they feel drained? Is her presence refreshing, or does it come with an air of negativity? That kind of impact isn't always obvious in the moment, but over time, it becomes impossible to ignore. Attraction isn't just about the obvious. It's not just about beauty, style, or carefully chosen words. It's about the details, the things that happen in the spaces between conversation, the moments that seem small but say everything. It's in the way a woman's face reveals emotion before she ever speaks. It's in the quiet confidence that lingers longer than appearance. It's in the way she listens, not just with her ears, but with her presence. It's in how she treats the people around her, the kindness she extends when no one is watching. It's in the way her energy shapes the room, how she makes people feel, even in silence. These are the things men notice, even when they don't say it out loud. These are the things that stay with them long after an interaction ends. Because in the end, it's never just about what is seen, it's about what is felt.